final word on the Acolyte. I know this weekend we're not talking about it. It's over. And I mean, it's one of the most unsatisfying endings. It is it's not so much a cliffhanger, because a cliffhanger would imply that I actually care. I don't. But I'd like everyone to weigh in on your final thoughts, and then Alan will show us the numbers.
Yeah, I don't think it was unsatisfying at all. I think I was fine with it because the whole show was unsatisfying. I mean, if we're going to be honest here, I mean, unsatisfying to what? What, you thought they were going to stick the landing in the final episode? Yeah. Like all of a sudden it was going to become a completely different show that we've been watching for the past 2 months. 2 months we've been watching this shit. I'm sorry, Alan.
I just
didn't mean to curse.
That's all right.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Right.
Well, I found
2 months of our lives.
I found it amazing that over 8 weeks, a show could just get progressively worse and worse and worse, and end with such a thud.
Well, we saw that with Ahsoka. We also saw that with Obi-Wan. And this is par for the course. If anything, Disney just stayed on brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just seemed like a big middle finger to the fans and George Lucas's legacy. And even in their own canon, their Disney canon, they can't even do that right when it comes to like crystal bleeding or whatever. Like the things that they've introduced, it's not consistent or cool because they don't have nerds in charge.
And you know what's funny about the crystal bleeding is they probably thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like in their minds, they probably thought, "Oh, we're going to blow away the fans."
Confirmed,
right?
They do think that based on their interviews, and yes, they contradict both the canon they stole and the one that they've made up because
it had the same emotional beat as when Pip turned red after his factory reset.
It's red.
Now she's evil because it turned red. Like we didn't know she was evil after she murdered Soul in cold blood. Now we know. For sure.
Well, not only that, they actually put the kyber crystal ahead of the emitter functions of the lightsaber too. Because that's the thing. Like they don't even understand the gear porn of it, which is that the kyber crystal is kind of in the center beneath the battery. That usually channels the energy, which goes through the emitter of the lightsaber, which allows it to have its length and stability. They just put the thing right in the front so that they could do that weird camera shot where we're looking inside the lightsaber to see, first of all, the kyber crystal out of place, not properly oriented, and then
when it turned back on,
and then it just starts to glow, transform red.
She looks surprised by it.
They misinterpreted something with regards to the blood staining of a kyber crystal, which I think was recently added into quote unquote Star Wars Disney lore.
Yep. My question overall watching the Acolyte was, why was this story the story that Leslie Headland wanted to tell? You know, I really liked Russian Doll. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And I was watching Acolyte and I kept waiting. First of all, you know, I was talking about this last night on my own show. You know, in the beginning of Star Wars, the original, in the crawl sets you up and tells you about the world. It is a period of civil war, rebel spaceship striking from a hidden base of one of their first victory of the... Okay. Then the next 5 minutes of the movie, it reinforces everything the crawl told you. The crawl sets you up, drops you into the middle of a world, and within 5 minutes, the audience is there. We're there. Why is it we're in now the High Republic, a whole new era? First of all, why isn't there crawls anymore? I don't understand. But why isn't there a crawl that immediately establishes you in the world, in the High Republic era? Show me the High Republic. What is different about it than that? It opens with somebody walking into a bar looking for a Jedi. They get into a fight and somebody, Carrie-Anne Moss dies. What is that even about? There's no context at all. And this is the problem, I think, with the storytelling of the modern era, and specifically what's happened with Star Wars, is everybody just expects you to just know. Like, this is Star Wars, but it isn't. I mean, it really is frustrating to watch, because as it was originally set up, Star Wars gave you an explanation and then dropped you into the middle of the action, so you were then situated and you could then you get your own bearings. It's like somebody's dropping you, you're parachuting into the middle of a battle sequence, and all you've been given is 3 paragraphs, but it contextualizes you so you know where you're at. They don't do that anymore in Star Wars. They figure that, oh, everybody knows. But Star Wars is only about Star Wars now. You know, when they tell you in the original, and everybody should go back to the original, if you're not going back to Star Wars, the original movie, and using it to contextualize your Star Wars show, you failed. Because all of the world building and the storytelling that you need to follow is in that movie. And, you know, going from Star Wars to Rise of Skywalker, it starts out, the dead speak. And all that opening paragraphs do in Rise of Skywalker is make everybody go, wait a minute, huh?
Right.
Yeah, it really sets up a situation where
Palpatine's speech is in Fortnite, the video game. You didn't play that, Rob? His whole announcement of how it's all in the Fortnite crossover video game.
Well, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. But from a storytelling standpoint, the dead speak. Since when has that happened? If Force ghosts speak, but it's none of that makes any sense. And if you go back and you look at how Star Wars is done, follow the original. Go back to Star Wars as a template. And the Acolyte, I'm like, I still don't know what that story's actually about. People say, well, the Jedi are essentially bad. They've been lying to people all the time and all this. That's not a story. That's a certain point of view.